Yes, now, Dan Crenshaw, Republican congressman from Texas, former Navy SEAL. Congressman, thanks for joining us. Your thoughts on this day, this moment, and how we got here?
It's atrocious. You know, we're watching our fellow Americans storm the Capitol. And what disturbs me the most about seeing some of it is these American flags being carried in as if this is some patriotic duty. Well, I recall wearing an American flag on my shoulder as I stormed my enemies, the enemies of our nation. That's what the flag is for, to defend this country against our enemies. The people in this Capitol are not your enemy, right? These are our fellow Americans. This is not what you do and call yourself a patriot. There's nothing to be proud of here. This is not okay. They should be condemned to the fullest extent, and I'm just saddened, I think, more than anything, and disappointed by what I've seen. It's unacceptable.
Congressman, what do you say to the people who point to the rally that happened today and what was said at that rally and say that it was igniting what had already been stirred up, but it was really stirring it up to produce what happened? There's all kinds of things online that the people who went into the Capitol were not part of the Trump rally, all of that. We're going to find out who those people are eventually, but they clearly were part of this rally, and they moved to the Capitol together. Your thoughts about that and whether that rally and the president himself stirred up this and kind of led to this?
Yeah, so many hyped up this day as this day of reckoning, as this big win that would happen. So many people said this would be the last stand, the last fight, the last effort to win back the republic. It's our 1776. When you use that kind of language, you should not be surprised that people tend to believe it. And a lot of people saying it thought this was a game, right? And now to them, it was all performative politics. But to others who were misled and deliberately angered, this was real. And it became very real. And it's not okay. You know, and I want to say something else here. This is exactly what we could expect every 4 years if we were to deem this process constitutional. This process is not constitutional. The founders envisioned this. They knew that if you put power within a single body, then that power or that body would receive all sorts of pressure to do what people wanted it to do. This is why we diffused power to the states to choose electors and elect a president. This is exactly what we could expect every single time. If we decide that this process is constitutional, this objection process, and we decide that Congress can simply overturn electors, we're seeing it play out right before our eyes. Many of us have said this all along. This is why you can't do this. You cannot set this precedent. But we did. And we have to stop it. This is a deeply unconstitutional process. I wanted President Trump to win. But I, as a member of Congress, cannot overturn an election. This is fundamentally what this is about. It doesn't mean that people's anger about election irregularities and the bad processes that we see in many states are invalid. Those are very, very valid concerns, and they must be addressed, but we must address them in the right way. We have to change laws at the state level. There needs to be a year 2000 Florida awakening for each of these states where we clean it up and we give people certitude that their vote really counts. There's nothing more important in this democracy, but there couldn't be a worse way to solve it than by what happened today.
But Congressman, last thing, we have 2 weeks here, 2 weeks until inauguration. And it's going to be a long 2 weeks if you listen to the president and what his message was. He did say, let's be peaceful, let's support the law enforcement, go home. But he also said, essentially, continue the fight, and this election is not over, and let's continue to try to overturn it. What should he be saying tonight?
Look, I wanted everybody who was objecting, I wanted everybody out in front of those protesters as they were storming the Capitol to be there and say stop. That's the only acceptable outcome. But you've got to man up and go down there and say enough is enough. This isn't okay. I want them to say that they misled them, because I think that's really what happened here. And that message has to be far more forceful than it's been.
Congressman Dan Crenshaw, thanks very much for the time.